Hello everyone, I'm Umangana Alavatta and I am a Master of Business Administration student at the University of Bedfordshire. So this is a presentation on the first module, Strategy and the Global Competitive Environment. So this is my analysis on it. So to move on to the contents of the presentation, these are the concepts that I will be analyzing. So first, I will be starting off with an overview about the boating industry of Sri Lanka, since that is the category that I have chosen. And then I'm moving into analyzing the industry specifications and also prominent drivers and trends in the industry, prominent uncertainties, and also out of them, I will have designed the two-dimensional grid. So, and also I will be moving into the scenario planning, whereas I would be choosing the most plausible scenario that is ideally that would fit into the Sri Lankan market. So to start off with, to give you an overview about the boating industry of Sri Lanka, we can focus on three main concepts. The, the first one is the importance of the industry to Sri Lanka. Next is the current context of the industry, and at last is the future of the industry or the way forward. So to brief you about the first one, which is the importance of the industry to Sri Lanka, is of course, although this industry is not developed yet, it is more likely to develop in the future because of the geostrategic location of the Sri Lanka in the international maritime route. So with all these consequences, there is a high potential of this industry to flourish in the near future. And then talking about the current context of the industry, although it has not contributed a great deal for the export strategy or for the national income of the country, it has a significant contribution to the export strategy of Sri Lanka. And talking about the future, of course, there are so many investors and also a regulatory framework that is being put forward by the Sri Lankan government in accordance with the future of this boating industry. So with that, let us move into the industry specifications. First one is the key players. So talking about the key players of the industry, we have large scale employers and also small and medium enterprise exporters. And then we have 11 key competitors here in Sri Lanka when it comes to the boating industry with these 5 leading competitors. And talking about the key products and services that are provided by the boat industry of Sri Lanka, we have shipbuilding, ship repairing, the pleasure boat sector, fishing boat sector, and the list goes on. So with these industry specifications, it is more preferable to say that there is an increasing tendency of this particular market in Sri Lanka. And talking about the market growth, as I have already analyzed before in my analysis as well, we see a remarkable growth in this industry in the next few years. Although it has only made less than $43 billion in 2019, it is more likely to develop in 2026 by $63 billion. So that says as to what kind of an extent that this industry is going to improve in this couple of years. Then talking about the market expansion, of course, you see that Asia Pacific region and also the other regions also show a remarkable progress when it comes to the boating industry in the next coming years. So this provides ample enough evidence to prove that Sri Lanka is also a stakeholder in the Asia Pacific region and that Sri Lanka also has a potential of developing into where it deserves to be. Next, moving on to the prominent drivers and the trends in the industry. So, in order to analyze these drivers and the trends in the industry, what we can identify is through a pestle analysis. So, talking about a pestle analysis, we have all these elements from political, economic to legal factors that actually impact in this kind of a business. So, with that, I have analyzed here about the prominent drivers and the trends that are in the industry. So when it comes to the political trends, of course, the free trade agreements play a greater role. For example, countries like Australia and United States have free trade agreements between these two countries in order to make sure that the resources and also the investments are equally distributed with each of these countries without any dispute. And also when it comes to new governmental initiatives, and also collaborations, mergers, and acquisitions with the other companies, we can see that there is a greater political trend that is being coming up in this particular industry. So whether it is going to be the B2C marketing or the B2B marketing, whatever that is going to be, the mergers and acquisitions that are going to happen in this industry going to pay a greater impact upon the entire global market. So moving on to the economic trends is a use of sustainable raw materials. So we are in this duration where we no more consider about the environmentally, we are talking about these environmental friendly substances. So talking about it, we used to have fiberglass for the boating industry, but right now we are limiting it and we are using wood as a major raw materials to produce the boat equipment. And then talking about the reduced impact on the environment, of course, a greater deal of the greenhouse gases are being limited and also restrictions are being formed by the governments of these respective countries when it comes to the reducing impact of the environment through the harmful gases. Next, moving into the social trends, the change of lifestyles and attitudes is also another prominent feature. So, talking about the social trends, for example, countries like China and Japan, they tend to have this greater bond in the family culture, and family culture is one key concept that this boat industry is also focusing at. They are especially building their yachts and their vessels in order to cater to this family culture and also to promote this into the family setups. Then talking about the market expansion, of course, when it comes to countries like India and also Sri Lanka, they are also trying to live out of the country and also to make sure that this industry is being established in the Asia Pacific region with the bilateral and the multilateral relationships that they are building. Next, moving into the most interesting part is the technological trends because currently the boat industry is focused greatly on the technology. So, smart board technology is one such technological advancement that actually derived from this boat industry in the global market. And with one touch of a button, this smart board technology allows the people to use any of the options that they would prefer, whether it is going to be a swimming boat or a party boat. Then 3D printing technology is of course another new trend that is being created by the boating industry. Then talking about the environmental trends, the environmental sustainability, as I discussed before, is going to be a significant role. So these key prominent trends and drivers can be found after a thorough analysis with the positive factors that are being present in the microenvironment. And as well as that, the legal trends, such as a special focus on health and safety and also regulatory frameworks that are being formed in governments as well as in Sri Lanka, can be identified as the drivers and trends. So, after a thorough analysis of the special factors and also after the analysis of the Porter's five forces, we found out these prominent uncertainties that are being visible in the microenvironment of the boat industry. So as a result of that, these 8 outputs have been found, whereas these two correlated dimensions or these two correlated concepts are being put forward to carry out my two-dimensional grid and also to support my scenario planning. So with that, I have analyzed the infrastructural resources from the x-axis and innovative technology from the y-axis. So this is my analysis on the scenarios based on this two-dimensional grid. So moving on to the scenario planning, I have built up a story with the inclusion of the Seafarer's Diary. So this is my analysis on the 4 scenarios that are being put forward by the 2 correlated dimensions that I have chosen. So this is the first one. And the story says, Sasha and I, together with our beautiful angel Fiona, had our beautiful cruise experience today at Ferryland marina. We were amazed by the way that we were onboarded and offboarded on the catamaran from the pontoon. The marina was built by giving the due value for shoreline resilience and was designed exceptionally well in an environment-friendly way. The water near the pontoon was crystalline and the vessel was beyond perfection, meeting our requirement with sun decks. Moreover, we enjoyed the cruise with the smart yacht and the thermal imaging facility that gave us information about the marine diversity underneath. So this is the diary note from the seafarer. And this says that this provides ample enough evidence to prove that he has met this particular quadrant, right? So he has actually had an amazing experience when it comes to the infrastructure resources of the catamaran and also the innovative technology that is being used in the industry. So I named it as the mega boom industry for the reason that it has an advancement in infrastructure resources and also in the innovative technology. And this is going to be the secondary note of them. So according to this one, what we can identify is that it fits rightly where the infrastructure resources are with higher value, whereas the innovative technology is at a lower stage. So there are some entities, there are some external markets that are available out there in the macro environment in exactly in this particular scenario. So I named it as a ready steady stage because they already have the maximum number of infrastructure resources, but they are lagging a bit behind technology. So I named it as a ready steady stage. And this is going to be the third diary node, whereas I named it as a slow but growth stage because this is a stage where the technology is very high and the infrastructure resources are lagging behind. So this is another scenario that we can find in the external market when we analyze. And the fourth one is this, where none of any of the other uh, factors are being considered here. It is also lagging behind in infrastructure resources and also lagging behind the innovative technology as well. So by considering this, I planned it as zero to hero stage. So by analyzing all these four quadrants, namely mega boom, ready, steady, slow but grow, and also the zero to hero stage, I came up with the most plausible scenario for the boat industry of Sri Lanka, and that is a ready, steady industry where the infrastructure resources are at a higher level, whereas the innovative technology is lagging behind. So this is one way that actually Sri Lanka is at currently. Although Sri Lanka does not have an improved technology, it is more likely to be developed in the future in terms of all the regulatory frameworks and all the other groundworks that are needed to be done. But when it comes to the infrastructure resources, Sri Lanka already has the potential of extending its services, having had the opportunity of being a major financial hub in South Asia now with the port, Colombo Port City coming into construction. So by analyzing all these information, all these factors, I understood and I came up with the most plausible scenario as a ready, steady stage. So thank you for your time and listening. And these are the references that I have put forward to bring up my analysis. And thank you so much.